What's up guys, welcome back to Dear Traveler, the series where I discuss your ideas, hopes, and wishes for Destiny. Before we start, remember to leave your own ideas in the comments below this video for a chance to be featured in the next episode. Also, the gameplay in the background is just some Skyrim. I saw a bunch of requests for that in the previous video, and I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan, so I thought it would be fun to play. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, let's get right into this week's episode. Starting with a comment from AllThePeeps90, he says, Dear Traveler, for the Coliseum, if there is one, which is something I talked about in the last Dear Traveler if you missed that, I want the ability to watch other players fight each other and survive against enemies, and also bet on which team is going to win or how many rounds the group of players can survive. This would be awesome for a quick way to win or lose tons of money in Destiny. I would also like a feature where you can bring your fire team and other players onto your ship to act as crew to help out during firefights in space and manage things. Now, to be able to watch matches in the Coliseum or arena, I think that would actually be really cool, and betting on them would be even cooler. Obviously, kind of risky there, you can lose everything, but I think that would be an awesome way. They have confirmed that gambling is in the game, although that was more gambling for loot, or for gear, so I'm not sure how that would work in this way, but I think that would be an awesome activity in the city. I can also see that going pretty nuts for big competitions like, professional teams and stuff. I can see people, coming in by the thousands to watch the game and bet on it and everything. I think that would actually be pretty badass. I think that sounds awesome. And then as for bringing your fire team and other players onto your ship, I think that would be really cool, but so far we've only seen little, fighter type ships, like one-person ships. We have no idea whether larger ships will exist in the game. There's been a few little things that could potentially mean larger ships. We know that there are different types of ships, that's confirmed. But as for actually large ships like this where you can bring squads on board, I don't know if that will happen or not. It would be cool, but I don't know if it'll happen. Anyways, on to the next one from Coolest Cookie, who says, Question, will we be able to go inside the Traveler? We don't actually know yet, we have no idea. Personally, I think we probably will at some point, but I would be surprised if that's in the first Destiny game, to be honest. I think that's something we might see later down the road, possibly in future Destiny titles, because the Traveler is such a major piece of the Destiny lore and the mystery of it. I don't think they'd really reveal that to us anytime soon. I think that's something we're going to have to uncover over time. We'll probably get little hints, we'll find out things about it, obviously, but I don't think we'd actually be able to go inside and learn everything about it until later down the road. After all, this is a 10-year project. Moving on, this one comes from Random Lifesaver, who says, Dear Traveler, I'm hoping for mini games that my friends and I could play together while we're in the city socializing. I'm also hoping for some sort of regulation on the in-game economy, as many a game has failed because the currency got out of hand. Also, I would like to not only change my spaceship, but to add cool aesthetic things that might also have a secondary function. I love the idea of having different spaceships, and I want huge ones to be available to easily indicate your dedication. So first up there, minigames in the city. That's a cool one. Bungie has confirmed in one of the mail sacks that there is non-combat activities in the city. What those are exactly we don't know, but it is confirmed that we can do some sort of, fun or social things in the city that are not combat related. And I imagine some sort of minigames will be included in that. I think that would be really cool. As for regulating the economy, I think there's a good chance that's something they will do. I can't really see Bungie letting it go completely wild. But at the same time, I think there are examples of games that have done it well, like EVE Online, for example. I think the economy in EVE Online is pretty much unregulated, at least seems like it to me. And in my opinion, that's one of the most awesome parts of the game. The economy there is just amazing. But I still imagine they're going to put some regulation in place. And then for adding cool aesthetics, I'm not really sure what you meant by that. Did you mean adding them to your spaceship or to other things? I don't know what you meant exactly, but I think it's pretty much confirmed that we will be able to add cool aesthetic things to pretty much everything, both our ship, probably our vehicles, our armor, everything like that, really, our guns. I think we'll be able to customize everything aesthetically, and a lot of it will be non-aesthetically as well. As for a secondary function, I don't know about that exactly, but it's, I think a lot of things will have secondary functions in Destiny. And then for the final one, having huge ships in Destiny, that kind of relates to the first question I answered. And I don't really think we'll see giant ships, to be honest. We have no idea yet. So far, we've only seen single-person ships, and I imagine most ships will be smaller. We do know that there are different types of spaceships. That has been confirmed. And most of the ones we've seen have been called the Scout class, I believe. So it wouldn't really surprise me if there is ships that are a bit bigger and beefier, but I don't think they'll be huge. On to the next one from Halo ID 855, who says, I like trains. Congratulations, sir, on winning our derpy comment of the week. When I asked if I should pick one derpy comment a week or not, it seemed like the majority of people said yes in the comments, so I've decided to go ahead and do that. And again, this week's is I like trains. On to the next one. Jobzig, I think that's how you say it, I have no idea really, says, Dear Traveler, I plan on playing Destiny by myself, but because it's an always connected game, I'm hoping that I don't have to pay for PS Plus or Xbox Live if I only want to play single player. I won't get either service otherwise, and I hope I don't have to pay for it just for Destiny, but I expect I will as it requires an internet connection. Now you are correct there in that it is required, and that's not something on Bungie's side, that's Xbox and PlayStation's deal. Basically, for a game to connect to a multiplayer server on Xbox or PlayStation 4, it requires one of those services, and that's just something that Xbox and PlayStation require. That has nothing to do with Bungie, and honestly, if Bungie wants it to be a multiplayer game, there's nothing Bungie can do about that either. It is a requirement. Unless, of course, you play on the PlayStation 3, because I don't think they're implementing paid PlayStation Plus service on the PlayStation 3, are they? I could be wrong there, I don't follow it that closely. But if the PlayStation 3 doesn't make PlayStation Plus mandatory, then I think that will be the only console that you won't have to pay any service fee for in order to play Destiny. Unless, of course, they release to PC, in which case it also shouldn't require anything. As like I said, this isn't a Bungie thing, that's all up to Microsoft and Sony. Moving on to the next comment from the Purple Hyena, he mentions a number of things here. 1, I would love to see holiday events in Destiny. 2, it would be cool to race our sparrows on an abandoned NASCAR track. 3, minigames. 4, different factions fighting for resources and a changing economy. 5, making and naming your own weapon/armor. He also says I should play Warframe, which I probably will do one of these episodes coming up because I've seen a lot of requests for that. Now to break this down, holiday events in Destiny, I think that would be really cool. That's always a fun thing to do, and I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be in Destiny, nor any reason why it's hard to code in or anything like that, so definitely that would be awesome. Racing our sparrows on an abandoned NASCAR track. That would be pretty awesome. Not necessarily just sparrows either, there's pikes and all those other things as well, but I think being able to race on such an old, sort of, I guess you could say landmark in a way, of modern day civilization, I think that would be really, really cool. Minigames, we already mentioned in a previous comment. Different factions fighting for resources, that would obviously be quite cool. We don't really know anything about factions yet, but I imagine they will be at odds with each other, as we do know that faction wars are a thing. So I imagine those wars very likely could be about resources. That's one of the most common thing wars are about. And then changing economy, that's already a thing. Bungie has hired an economy designer, or at least they had a listing up for it, so they're obviously building an in-game economy. Finally, making and naming your weapons and armor, that would of course be really awesome. Crafting systems have been hinted at, but we don't really know anything about them yet. We'll just have to wait and see. As for naming them, I imagine if Destiny does have a crafting system, which I hope it does, that naming them will be kind of an automatic thing. That seems logical to me. On to the next one from Robert Parsons, who says, Dear Traveler, I hope that there isn't one set of default gear/weapons for everyone who starts a new character, and that 2 sets of gear don't look too alike, unlike Star Wars The Old Republic. I also hope that every piece of gear looks good with every other piece of gear. I don't want a badass helmet that looks ugly with my chest plate, or has a different color scheme. I want it to be like Star Wars The Old Republic in the sense that if 2 different pieces of armor have different colors, you can click a button and then blend. Now, honestly, I have no idea about the default starting gear and weapons. I don't really mind either way. I can see where you're coming from. You know, you'll see too many people that look the same. But to be honest, I think if everyone did start on the same page, you would quickly find your own things and change. So it's probably not that big of a deal. But that said, I think even our default set, we probably will be able to customize, you know, colors, look, general, you know, modifications to it. And I'm sure that there will be different default sets to start with as well. I don't know if every single Guardian is going to start with a different set, but I'm sure there will be a bunch of different ones like you can choose from or something like that. I doubt they're going to start off every Guardian looking identical. And then being able to blend colors, I guess that is kind of cool. I can imagine that being something you have to go, you know, back to the tower or somewhere to, like, you know, to do, where you can take all the gear you've earned and put it into something and, you know, you can edit it. That seems like something that, you know, that would work. I can't imagine you're just going to put it on and instantly blend it, but maybe it would even require resources. I think that'd be kind of cool. If you want to change the color of something you get, you have to have the paint for it. I think that would be awesome. Moving on, this one comes from Big Matty B Fresh, who says, Dear Traveler, I hope that you have to repair armor and things like in Fallout. It will add a new layer of resourcefulness to a great game. Now, I believe this is already almost confirmed, to be honest. The tower, which is Guardians HQ, has been said to be a place where the Guardians can refuel, rearm, and repair for the next adventure. And that's something that Bungie themselves have said. So I think that's already pretty much confirmed that some type of repairing will exist in Destiny. Also, I agree that it would be a cool feature to have. Kind of annoying at times, sure, but still pretty cool. The only thing is I wouldn't want armor to ever actually break from being damaged too much. I think it'd be cool if, you know, it got damaged slowly and the effectiveness of it went down, like the armor rating of it went down. But I wouldn't want to ever actually, like, lose it just because I forgot to repair it, you know what I mean? Nothing too drastic is basically what I'm saying. On to the next comment from Kyle Wilson, who says, "You mentioned talking previously about weather, but I'm curious if you've investigated how far down the rabbit hole goes. And then, I'd like to see holiday events. Much of what is seen in many MMOs, which stays true to the nature of the holiday. Snow with winter events, beaches/sun for summer events, etc. Since it is a futuristic world, they could even incorporate made-up holidays to fit with the lore, since I'm sure the meaning of our modern-day holidays were lost with the fall." Now for the weather, I don't have any sort of special in-depth investigation to hand out to you, unfortunately, but I do know that Bungie has said repeatedly that Destiny is a dynamic living world that's always changing. It definitely has dynamic lighting with day and night cycles, and I think all of that kind of supports the weather. We've seen clouds moving and stuff like that, so I think that automatically implies weather in a way. Basically, we have no actual evidence, no confirmation, but I think weather definitely is going to be a thing in Destiny, and it would only make sense, really. And then holiday events were already touched on before, but I do like the idea of them staying true to the holiday. That'd be pretty awesome to have snow coming down in Destiny. I think that'd be sweet. But then beaches with sun, I don't know exactly where that would be. We'd have to go find a beach in Destiny, but you know, that would be pretty cool. Moving on, this one comes from Gobias6, who says, "Dear Destiny updates." Ha! Okay, you're gonna try and break away from the mold there, huh? Anyways, I know one of my ideas has already been featured, but this is one of my best ever. Okay, so I just wanted to mention here real quick, I don't actually really grade whether you've had a question answered before. I think I've already featured one person twice, I don't remember. The fact is, I can't really remember everyone I featured in every episode. It's too hard for me to keep track of it all. And the real thing that I choose based on is the idea itself. I don't actually choose based on who said it. I don't really want to be biased like that. So your name, your avatar, that doesn't matter to me. All that matters is the actual idea on screen. Also, sometimes how well it's written. If I see one comment that's written poorly and another one that's written really well that talk about the same thing, then I'm gonna choose the well-written one, I'm sorry. Going on with his idea, he says, "Going with the whole seamless world thing, every player should be able to challenge every other player to a duel. This would be a great way to prove your individual skill against cocky players. There should be different kinds of competitions like target practice, quick draw, and my favorite, Sparrow drag races." That reference. Okay, so I think this is a really awesome idea. I don't know how it would work in story mode if you're in a mission, you know, you ran into a public event, meet up with someone you wanted to challenge them. Because if you just drop out of your mission to go challenge them, it seems like it might mess up your mission. I don't know how that would work, but maybe there's some way they can, you know, get around that so you can come back to your mission where you left off. Or maybe it would be something that you can only do in competitive multiplayer. But either way, I think that would actually be really cool. It'd be a really fun thing to do, actually. And all the challenges you mentioned are really cool as well. I like the fact that they're not just plain old 1v1s, that they're kind of fun, interesting things to test out different skills. I think that would be a really, really cool feature. Anyways, on to the next one. This one comes from Soul Wilder Master, who says, "Dear Traveler, one of my favorite aspects of the Mass Effect series is customizing your armor and then being able to play in third person so you can see your armor as you play. Do you think we should be given a choice to switch to third person in Destiny during combat? Also, what would you like to see used in armor customization? Would you want full access to the color spectrum or just predetermined colors to choose from like in Mass Effect?" Okay, so third person. Personally, I'm a first-person guy. I always play first-person. I kind of prefer that. I think it's less clunky and more smooth, and generally just a little more immersive and nicer. Even like games like Skyrim where you can choose, I always play first-person unless I kind of want to just pop out for a brief moment to just see something or see what I look like. I do really like the Mass Effect series. I definitely enjoy the series, but I still prefer first-person, to be honest. But I know a lot of people out there like third person, so I have nothing against that. I don't see any real problem with adding a third person mode, but I suppose it would make the game a bit less polished because they'd be making two completely different games, and it also makes it a bit hard to classify. I mean, like, is it a first person shooter or is it a third person shooter? In a way, it's like you don't really see games that are both. But I think it would be kind of a nice feature. I don't think they're going to do that, to be honest, because they are advertising it as a first-person shooter, and first-person shooters is what Bungie has always made, so I think that's what Destiny is going to be. But it would be a cool feature, and I can see why a lot of people would want it. And then armor customization, would I want full access to the color spectrum, or just predetermined colors? I think full access to the color spectrum would be awesome. I mean, Destiny is all about customizing your character, making it look exactly how you like, and having pretty much no Guardian look the same, never running into a Guardian that looks the same as you. So I think having full color spectrum access would be awesome. It's much more interesting than just having predetermined colors. Anyways, that's it for this week's Dear Traveler. I didn't want it to get too long this week. I don't really have the time at the moment, I'm sorry. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave your ideas, hopes, and wishes for Destiny in the comments below for a chance to be featured in the next episode. Also, as usual, there's loads of awesome comments and ideas that I don't get to cover in every episode. So if you want to repost your idea from the previous episode if I didn't cover it, feel free to do that. I have nothing against that so that I can see it again in this week. And once again, feel free to leave suggestions for games that I should play in the comments. I do use your guys' suggestions. The only one I would say not to suggest is Borderlands. I've already seen that suggested a million times, and I will play it. I just need to buy it. I don't actually have Borderlands, and I want to wait for it to go on sale or something again because I just don't feel like spending the money on it at the moment. But feel free to suggest other games, and I'll play Borderlands as soon as I can. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.